seeing people on Facebook, and I've left that inflation sheet for a while. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the inflation sheet and then put the debt clock for people to see. I think
It's
that's
amazing.
important. Yeah. So here's the question that you just said it, Patty. In service rollover. So let's look at a scenario. Let's say somebody's got a $750,000 401k, right? It's done well. And okay, so they're happy. Why not take advantage of the in-service rollover? At the very least, leave some of it in there, move the other in there, take advantage of these interest rate guarantees.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
It is huge.
So, I mean, you want to describe that to our listeners?
The in-service rollover?
Well, to the in-service rollover and how they can hedge themselves.
Oh, it's fabulous because you can. I was figuring out what $750,000 with the 32% bonus and all that stuff. But anyway, so it's $750,000 with the 32% bonus. That would give them 240,000 additional dollars.
Right.
That make it $990,000 to start with.
Jeez.
And on top of that, then they would add whichever, So it's a fabulous, fabulous thing. And you are still working if you do an in-service rollover. So you continue to contribute to your 401k. We always advise you to put in whatever they are matching.
Right.
And that's a whole nother conversation, the extra money that you say, well,
wait a second. Certain radio show hosts say put every penny you can into your 401k. So if I'm getting a match of 4%, but I can put another 15, shouldn't I put in the full 20%?
Only if you think taxes are going to go down.
Oh, taxes. I got to pay taxes on that money.
Yes.
You
don't always avoid it. And my mind just went so many directions, but to try to get myself out of that rabbit hole, back up onto the ground, which we were talking, you still are contributing to your 401k. Your employer is still matching that dollar amount. And again, only put in what they're matching.
Right.
And we have ideas for those other funds. So please see us.
Absolutely.
But that rollover then can now be in that bucket preparing you for your retirement.
Absolutely.
Meaning gaining that 12% or that 8%, whichever one is best for you in your circumstances.
So our written plan, the prosperity plan,
right?
We have the safe money plan. We have the income plan. We have the growth plan. We've got a legacy plan. We have a tax-free plan. We have a social security plan. And I'm skipping one, but the point is we have all of these strategies that work, and we look at the whole picture for you. Folks, if you were watching on Facebook, and you can go to Prosperity Group at Facebook, I have the U.S. national debt. It's about to hit $35 trillion. And while we're doing the show, it's just climbing. Now, here's what's interesting in looking at this. The tax revenue that we are getting is $4 trillion. So we'll just say $5 trillion. Okay. It is insane that we are upside down. So let's see. Medicare, it's out of control. The interest on the debt, $768 billion. All right. The total US debt is $97 trillion. Oh my. Okay. That's the unfunded debt. So right now, every family, when a baby is born, he is born in debt because of our government. All right. So this is unreal when you look at this.
Isn't it?
Household assets are $151 billion. No, that's not it. I have to slow down and look. I'm trying to.
I know
look
there's
at
so
it
much
quickly.
to see on it. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
actually.
we can do a whole show on each subject right here because it's crazy. Income taxpayers. Oh wow. U.S. population is 336 million people. U.S. income taxpayers. You know how many people are paying income taxes? 128 trillion.
Wow.
Sorry, not trillion. 128 million out of 336. So, I mean, I understand kids, but are you telling me that only, let's see, 250, it's only 30% of the population is paying taxes? 30%. Wow. So 70% of the population is not paying taxes. Gee, what if we ran our business that way, Patty?
We would not be here long.
What if we ran our household that way? And this is the way we're running. because of politics. If everybody paid 10% and, other than children that are not of age, I bet you the tax revenue would be substantially higher.
Absolutely.
And why not? But this Robin Hood mentality, steal from the rich, give to the poor, it doesn't work. It never has worked. It didn't work under Jimmy Carter. It's not working now really under Joe Biden. And if he's going to go after the corporations, somebody's going to get, somebody's going to put a hurting on himself.
Gonna put a hurting on. Go back real quickly to that client with the 750.
Right.
In 6 years, his income balance would be $1,702,800.
And what's that time 5% kind of income is that? 50, that's 85,000 something. $85,000 a year that he's guaranteed to have in a short period of time.
In 6 years.
Wow. Unreal.
Mm-hmm. So I just found that very interesting.
In fact, hey, Barry, how are you doing? One of our clients. We really need to review this with all of our clients right now, because this is crucial. What's taking place, folks. This is crucial. We need to take advantage of this.
And I want to say this real quickly. The way that we always advise our clients is, if you are married, to do joint lifetime income. That isn't only income for your life. If you are married, that would be for you and your partner, your husband.
Yeah,
your
exactly. It's guaranteed for both lives.
Exactly.
I'm leaving the debt clock. We've got about 50 seconds left before this segment's over. I'm leaving the debt clock going right here. It's at 34,506,987,300. Well, it's already 400,000. I mean, that number just increases so quickly when you look at this. It's insane. Oh, the U.S. gross domestic product, $27 trillion. So we are $7 trillion upside down. Tax revenues just under $5 trillion. So we're not even breaking even. Here's what I say. We're out of time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group. And do you know how upside down we are with our debt right now? Let me explain to you why that's important. Inflation is really at 12%. We can put you with accounts that will add a substantial amount of money to your account, anywhere from 15 to 40%, with guarantees of 10 to 12%. Call me at 800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com. Any of our team can help you.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-353-2973 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
That you're you. You're crazy, you're all wrong, and only always rude. So I feel inclined to stay like this, but I know I should probably get a move on.
Welcome back, folks. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and you hear songs that we play on air. Usually it's songs that from our project called We've Got the Music that we sang. I sang with my late wife, Marie. So you heard her sing today, you've heard me sing, and now you've heard my daughter, Annie Ellie, which she's actually been in Kauai, and that's Kauai, Hawaii, singing and doing a lot of music over there. and also very involved in a local church there. So it's been kind of a neat experience for her to be over there. And she sends me pictures of Hawaii, and Hawaii is beautiful. I miss it. I haven't been there in a long time. Well, 2 years. And I'm ready to go back. It's so beautiful. Well, Patty, we're going to bring the ship home here, but right now, if somebody's got, here's the danger, okay? Let's say I got 100% of my money in the market right now. Let's say it's my 401k and I'm 59. Let's say I'm 60 and I haven't taken advantage of my in-service rollover. How exposed am I if something goes wrong with this market?
Unfortunately, as long as it took that money to get to that point, it can take a blink of the eye for it to go away.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? And so what we're encouraging our listeners to do is to consider moving that 401k, moving the in-service rollover into something safe, but where you can get these huge income numbers to guarantee your income.
Right. And it's not like
growth.
It's not like with the market where you say, oh, the market's up 12%. Oh, the market's down 5%.
Exactly.
It's up and it stays there.
Yeah, it doesn't go down because of the market. So what we've seen a lot of our folks do, they do the in-service rollover, but they continue contributing to the 401k, and they've gotten, huge surges. Like we talked to a client today because of the fact he hit these numbers with his account. But let me explain this to our listeners. We met with a listener yesterday, and he's got $2 million in an account. He's in his 50s, and we showed him a way to make that $2 million worth $9 million tax-free to his family, and to create an income of $350,000 a year tax-free. How many of you that are listening to me have a couple of $1,000,000 and you have this account, a tax-free revenue stream? How important do you think that is? How many of you would like to get $350,000 a year? Yeah, everybody wants to get $350,000 a year, but how many of you would want to get it tax-free? And he's at the perfect age to do that. Perfect age to do that. And he doesn't have to take any risk in the process. See, we've been conditioned to think that the market's the only place to grow your money directly. But if that's the case, it's also a way to shrink your money directly.
Mm-hmm.
Tom's asking if he can. Tom, I don't know. Time may be of the essence here. This person is in his lower 50s. But yeah, you can create tax-free income. We could do some Roth conversions for you. And actually, in your account, that may be something we want to consider, but it depends on when you want income. And folks on the radio, I'm commenting to Facebook questions live that we get because we run this on Wednesday. So if you want to go to Prosperity Group at Facebook, you can. Folks, you can also go to our website, mymoneyissafe.com. We have a tax calculator. If you want to look at your tax liability, it's important to know what your tax liability is. Go to our tax calculator, and also stay tuned as we're going to be talking to you about trust programs where you can actually get into a trust program with attorneys that is streamlined.
Morning, Doc. How you doing today, buddy? Are you looking pretty good there? Now you should be able to hear me.
I hear you.
And I hear you too. You're just a floating head today.
I know I put on a green shirt thinking, oh, that would be cool, but guess what? You can't wear green with a green screen. Someone
I
has
like
to...
it. You're just a
Does it look
floating
okay?
head.
You like it?
That's good. We'll tell everybody to go to Facebook to look for the floating head.
All right.
Some new surgical technique took place over the weekend with Doc. He's just a floating head right now.
I was decapitated, bud. Decapitated.
What's on the subjects today there, Docky?
Oh, I thought I'd talk about homelessness. And I don't know why my damn mirror's not working here. Oh, well, we'll just have to go back and forth, won't we? Somebody been messing with my stuff. Somebody's been messing with my camera, bud.
Oh, who's been doing Facebook feeds but you?
Oh, my wife, she crawls back there to hang things up and knocks things around, and she's my little pest.
That's always the women, isn't it?
They're troublesome. All right, let me
you get ready. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Okay, buddy.
All right, you with me, Doc? You still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we may be a little early. That show is already over, the one before us.
It's all right. We'll go ahead and do a show.
We'll
We
get
got
you some
plenty of
free time
material.
here, maybe.
We got tons of material.
But it doesn't mean you have to accept it. That's why I want to tell you about a special lady, Leah from Ohio, and her relief factor story. One Sunday, Leah was sitting on the couch in so much pain she was literally in tears. That's when she decided to try Relief Factor. Just 8 days later, she found relief, and she continued to get better and better. To quote her, she said, "I am truly amazed at this product. Like me, who after 9, almost 10 years, almost a decade of low back pain, lost that pain thanks to Relief Factor. If you're living with aches and pains, see how Relief Factor, a daily drug-free supplement, could help you feel and live better every day. Get the 3-week quick starter pack at relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. It all comes with the feel better or your money back guarantee. That number, 1-800-4RELIEF. relieffactor.com.
The stock market volatility will continue through 2023. What if it drops 30 to 40%? What will happen to your income or lifestyle? Do you find yourself asking, when will this happen? Or what can I do to protect my wealth? Reach out to Greg Ellie at Prosperity Group. For over 33 years, Greg's helped thousands of retirees save money and protect their retirement nest eggs. Don't roll the dice with your money in the Wall Street casino. Greg uses safe money strategies to get you a reasonable rate of return. At Prosperity Group, Greg and his team help reduce your retirement risk, potentially create tax-free income. He's helped thousands of retirees create a pension-like and inflation-friendly income lasting for you and your spouse's life and the remainder for your legacy. Greg was one of the pioneers of tax-free strategies, living benefits, and long-term care protection. You can retire with peace of mind by calling Greg today at 800-440-0434. That's 800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com.
WGUL and W229DJ Dunedin. Powered by Prosperity Group. Come grow with us and reach your retirement goals.
Experience the best selection of cigars and accessories in the country. Corona Cigar is located at 4142 West Boy Scout Boulevard across from International Plaza, or visit coronacigar.com.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. There have been some major developments in 2 of Donald Trump's legal cases. We get more on that from White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
Late last week, a New York judge delayed Donald Trump's hush money criminal case. Jury selection was to have begun later this month, but the criminal trial is being pushed back until mid-April after Trump lawyers said they needed more time to sift through new evidence. Meanwhile, in Georgia, the lead prosecutor in the former president's election interference case is out of a job. He resigned after the judge said either the DA or the prosecutor had to withdraw because of a romantic relationship. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Former President Trump claims that he, not President Biden, will protect Social Security and warns of a bloodbath if he loses in November as he campaigned for Senate candidate Bernie Moreno in Ohio yesterday. Mr. Trump, speaking at a wind-whipped airfield outside of Dayton, praised his chosen candidate in the race as the American first champion. Federal Reserve policymakers meeting this week amid questions about when the central bank will start turning back interest rates.
Most economists do not expect a rate cut this time around. There had been hope for a reduction as early as this month, but that hope has faded amid persistently stubborn inflation. Now, many analysts speculate the Fed will start scaling back the cost of borrowing by the end of June. Chairman Jerome Powell will announce the Fed's decision Wednesday afternoon. Also this week, an update on the housing market, reports on housing starts, building permits, and existing home sales, and the index of leading economic indicators is due Thursday. Rich Thomason reporting.
Police say an early morning shooting here in Washington, D.C. killed 2 people and wounded 5 others. Officers responded to a reported shooting near the intersection of 7th and P Streets northwest about 3 a.m. This is SRN News.
Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Journey with me, Mike Gallagher, and Dr. Sebastian Gorka on the Patriots Alaska cruise this summer. It's going to be an incredible opportunity to engage with other like-minded patriots on an epic 7-day cruise over 4th of July. Witness the untouched wilderness of Alaska while discussing America's future. Join Dr. Gorka and me, Mike Gallagher, from June 29th through July the 6th. Call 855-565-5519 or reserve online at patriotsalaskacruise.com.
Can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me something. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, no thanks, not my thing.
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
If you need support for behavioral health needs, visit cfbhn.org.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
See National Salem talk show host Dr. Sebastian Gorka live in person March 19th at the Corona Cigar Company in Tampa. Get tickets while they last at theanswertampa.com.
For today, pleasant with times of clouds and sun with a high of 82. For tonight, partly cloudy and warm, a thunderstorm in spots late, low 73. For tomorrow, cloudy with a thunderstorm with a high of 78. For tomorrow night, partly cloudy and cooler with a low of 51. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
Go, Doc.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD. I got Ken by my side, and we are doing a show.
I'm doing a jig.
We're doing the jig, baby.
I'm doing an Irish jig right now for you.
And so we say happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you, whether you're Irish or not. We have a large Irish population in the United States and Canada, as you know. And the Irish have been integral, even though the whiskey has kind of slowed them down over the centuries. They have been integral in multiple aspects of our culture and our life and our politics and our military. The Celts like to fight. You may not have known that. I was married to one.
I am married to an Irish one.
You know how it is. They like to fight. They do.
They will erupt occasionally.
Yes, they will, and throw things. And
well, my wife never thrown anything at me, so
she hasn't.
No.
You don't know what you're missing.
I guess I'm not that bad.
Well, no, you just she probably figures you're not fast enough to duck.
That's right.
The Koreans have been known to throw a few things too.
Love them. Maybe it's the guys, not the women.
Well,
it could be.
I'm not going to commit to that. Dude.
I'm just saying it's a possibility.
I'm not committing to that. I'm sticking with my gender. Anyway,
I'm just trying to get nothing thrown at me when I walk through the door today. So
okay, well, let me speak to her directly. Don't throw anything at Ken.
Thank you
very
much.
Move that fast.
I'm sure that's coming from my doctor. So yes, you should take it seriously.
Yeah, you don't want to have to take him to the ER to get his head sewn up. No,
that's right. Exactly. It'll ruin her all night.
Yep. So I don't know if these tobacco ads are appropriate for the Dr. Bill radio show, but they keep running them. I don't know who's doing the ad. Is that Steve or who does?
I'm not sure who's doing that one. So
let's jump on Joe and get him to fix that. At any rate,
see if we can move that somewhere else.
Let's see if we can move that.
Well, I understand your reluctance to tobacco and things like that.
Yeah,
I don't listen to it, but I understand it.
Well, that's because you smoke.
That's right.
You're one of the sinners.
No. See, that's the wrong way. See, we're here it is, Doc. Here's the thing. We are hooked. We are addicts. We should be getting some sort of government help.
Well, the homelessness.
How do I get a check for that? I must be able to get some sort of check for smoking.
Well, you should. And the homelessness problem, is of course tied to a lot of it to addiction to alcohol and drugs. And I don't know about tobacco. Are there a lot of homeless people because they want to smoke or they can't?
I doubt it very much.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm glad to know that. So you're
I
not.
hope they're not homeless because they're spending all their money on cigarettes.
I hope not. We'll get to that later, but I wanted to run real quick by this little article I ran into from I guess it's the Pew Center or the Robert Wood Johnson, one of those research organizations. It's the Pew Center, and support for authoritarianism is highest in middle-income countries. Did you know that?
I did not.
I did not either. So high-income countries like the United States, Canada, UK, Poland, Italy, Greece, Spain, France, it's not that high. But when they say middle income, I'm guessing they mean low middle income, like India, Indonesia, where 85% of the people are for an authoritarian government.
85.
85% well, I mean, this is research, so got to take it with a grain of salt. And I don't know why several of the South African countries, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, they like that. Mexico, 71%. Brazil.
Maybe it's the corruption in their countries. You know, the money going everywhere but to them.
I don't know. How would authoritarian governments better that? I guess you don't have to do as much work if you put your trust in the government and just expect them to dictate fairness and civility. I don't think it's working in Mexico, to tell you the truth.
Well, no, not Mexico. I think it probably failed there. But you look at places like where you were in Singapore. Now, you said they were nice, safe areas that you never felt uncomfortable in.
Never. Really nice country, nice people.
And the people weren't complaining about being oppressed, were they?
No. But they're highly affluent. They're one of the most affluent populations in the world. And I don't think they're very. Actually, their government has been authoritarian, but they voted for the government over and over and over. So apparently, they like it.
Yeah, somebody's in control, and you said there's not a lot of crime there, and when they do, they treat it severely,
and they like it.
Yes, exactly.
They don't want crime. They don't want disorder. They don't want all that in their country.
And neither do we. But
well, I don't know about that.
We don't want. No, I don't. I don't want it. Do you want this? You want this order?
Well, you and me. But you remember Hugh Downs? You remember the news?
Sure, I remember you. Yeah.
Back in the 70s and 80s, he was a liberal. He was a left-wing loony, and he went to Singapore. And I heard him talk one time, and he was talking about how civilized it was and the low crime rate and all that. And he said, "It's so boring. I think the left likes this. They like the crime. They like the
chaos.
They like it. It gives them something to, I guess, try to fix through social welfare programs."
Mm.
And the problem with that, of course, is that they don't work. It's not that they don't work. They can't work because the problems can't be solved by money. And as I have said before, the homelessness problem, the criminal problem, the people in jail, these are almost always abused kids. And what we have to do is increase intervention early on. I mean, when these kids come out of the womb, we need to identify the parents that are going to be abusive and neglectful and get in there with social workers. And we can't just go in and spend, a few months and then say, oh, it's fixed. I told you about my sister. She was a social worker, my older sister, Jackie. And we were walking from my little baby sister's house in the Highlands in Louisville, going to a restaurant to eat. And we passed a house and she pointed to it and she said, "I used to call on those people. You can't believe how they lived. They just opened the basement door and threw their garbage down there. And, it was just disgusting. And the kids were neglected and this and that." And she said, "I got in there and I got everything all fixed up. And then a couple of years later, I got called back and back to the same thing."
Oh, man. Okay.
So you cannot walk away from these people, and you have to do it early. You cannot intervene after the fact because it doesn't work. All you can do is lock them up. Psychiatric facilities, prisons.
And that's all very expensive, Doc.
It's no more expensive than giving them money to live on the street. I mean,
That's true, yeah.
How much does it cost a year for California to support their homeless people? I don't know, probably costs 40, 50 grand a year per person.
Totality, probably billions.
Yeah, because look, even with the social programs that are available to these people and the drug counseling and the alcohol treatment and all that, then you got to clean up the mess after them. And then you've got theft and you've got crime, and all these things cost, Ken. They cost. This is not a situation where people on the street are not costing us more money. They're costing us more money in resources, in criminal resources, and losses through theft, destruction of property, and interference with business. A lot of businesses have left the downtown San Francisco area because of these people. Same with LA.
Yeah. Well, then we have to start reprioritizing what we want to do in this country. And you can do that with a vote, I guess.
Well, but the problem is that the left is not going to go along with this. They don't want to see people put into institutions and facilities. They want to give everybody their own home. And, you give these people a home and they're drinking and they're drugging and they're neglecting their kids and there's crap all over the place and the kids are throwing chocolate bars on the wall and
pets are doing no. It's just
you got to have a highly structured environment for them, not just give them a home and say, well, the problem with homelessness is they don't have a home. No, that's not the problem with homelessness. It's over and over the studies that are objective and not the ones that are subjective and say, well, look, the problem with homelessness is they don't have a home. I mean, that's not research. The research
I could have told you that right now. Yeah.
And the research that keeps coming out over and over again is that the people that are most likely to end up on the street are abused kids or kids who were exposed to alcohol and drugs early or kids who were homeless as kids. And so they don't know anything else. And this is how they live. It's a subculture that has evolved, or it's probably always been here. And the state with the highest homelessness rate, of course, is California. And they are the state with the most social welfare programs. So go figure that out, Ken.
Well, then we got to start building more institutions, where we can put these folks and help them.
If you can help them. I mean, if you can get them off the alcohol and drugs, the recidivism, of course, is tremendous.
Yeah.
And same with criminals. But
well, at the same time, if you can reduce the amount of drugs coming into the country by closing out the border or whatever, you can fight two problems at the same time.
Yeah.
You got to bring the drugs down.
Well, also, you remember that Karl Marx in his books, he said that he wanted the homeless people to join his campaign against capitalism. So I think that the left wants this homelessness because they see these people as potential allies in their battle to have a socialist society.
Sure, to register them and vote. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they want the downcast, the downtrodden. They want the workers who feel they've been stepped on. They want the homosexuals and the transsexuals who feel they've been abused and have been outcast from society and marginalized. And this is just not a good thing. And there's a reason that these people are outcast and marginalized. They have problems.
Yeah.
They have psychiatric problems. They have alcohol and drug problems. The alcohol and drug abuse in the gay community is the male gay community. I don't know about the female, but the male gay community is much higher than in the general population. And I know that not only from research, but from my own personal experience with working with gay people and having gay doctors in the practice and so on and so forth. So
we should go back to do we outlaw alcohol again? Go back to abolition or whatever? Now, what's the prohibition?
Well, the Canadians would appreciate it. They could make some more money off of it.
They did do it. They did very well back then.
They did very well, and the Kennedys got rich with that too.
That I don't remember, but I'll take your word for it. It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
So now, if you look at the research being done out in California, if you go to Stanford, which is a little bit more conservative than UC Berkeley, the key takeaways are that California's homeless crisis is associated with high housing costs, inadequate shelter spaces, deinstitutionalization, out of prison, out of psychiatric facilities, and changes in the criminal justice system. I'd put the last two first. Now, if you go to the Berkeley website and look at what they say the problem is, they say the problem is they're homeless because they don't have a home, and we need to buy them a home. So it's just confusing to me, Ken. I don't know how they get to these points, and it's fascinating to see the different take depending on whether you are leading with your heart or leading with your head, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. And that's what you have to decide on election day. Who do you want to lead? Those with their hearts or those with their heads?
I told you about the senator, the corrupt senator that died and went to heaven last week, didn't I?
I don't think so. Tell me again if you did.
So it was Senator Smith, and he went up and he went to St. Peter and said, "I'm here. I'm Senator Smith. I'm ready to come to heaven." St. Peter said, "Well, God's got a new policy." He said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, you got to spend one day in heaven and one day in hell, and then you decide." And he's like, "Well, that's weird, but if that's what God commands, I mean, I don't have a choice." And he said, St. Peter said, "That's right." He said, "Where do you want to go first, heaven or hell?" He said, "I might as well get hell out of the way." So St. Peter walked him over to the elevator and pushed the button and showed him into the elevator, and down he went. And when he got down to hell, the doors opened, and he was at the Augusta National Golf Course. And his buddies were waiting for him there in a golf cart with his clubs and, cooler full of beer. And so they played 18 holes and had a really nice time, had a nice lunch, went back to the Omni Hotel where he had a really luxury suite, and got all dressed and went out to dinner. And Satan was there dressed in tux and tails serving everybody, and woke up in the morning and his friends were happy and they had a wonderful breakfast. And then he went back up, and St. Peter said, "Okay, now you got to do heaven for a day." He said, "All right, but hell was pretty good." And St. Peter said, "Your choice." So he went to heaven, and it's very peaceful, and people were friendly, and there was no arguing. And, you could pretty much do what you want as long as it was loving and kind. And people were reading poems and playing music and, playing badminton and things like that. And he did that for 24 hours, and he came out, and St. Peter said, "Well, what do you think?" He said, "Well, you guys are really nice up here, and I'm not saying anything negative about heaven, but all my friends are in hell, and they're having a great time." He said, "Your choice." So he put him back on the elevator, and the door opened, and it's fire and brimstone, and his friends are in rags, and there's demons beating them, and they're picking up trash and just, really menial jobs just to get a meal. And he went over to Satan. He said, "What happened yesterday? This was paradise, and today it's hell." And Satan said, "Yesterday we were campaigning. Today you voted." So be careful, stop and think. Trump's saying, "If I'm not elected, there'll be blood in the streets." Well, he's playing to his base. There ain't
That's
gonna be blood in
exactly
the street.
it. I know. But it's nice to know that you can play Augusta in hell. That's nice.
Yeah, well, at least before you vote to go.
Well, I did before you vote. Yeah. So, because I'll probably never play it here. So
no, but so you go to heaven and you do one day in hell, and then you say, "Oh, and then I'm going to go to heaven." So at least you get one round in.
Now, yeah, that's right. I've been warned. Exactly. You got to go see Doc right on Facebook. Dr. Bill, your Radio MD on Facebook. He's a floating head this morning. He looks like he has a shamrock. These are shamrocks. He's got a big thing of shamrocks behind him, and he's like he stuck his head right through the shamrocks. Go take a look at this. This is good. I like this.
And you know how I did it, Ken?
You're wearing a green shirt, I imagine, on a green screen with a green picture.
Yeah, so you can't see the green.
That's right. You're just a floating head.
You just see the picture. See the background.
That was a new surgical technique you discovered.
Yeah, decapitation and reimplantation among a bed of clover.
Well, it worked beautifully. Go take a look at it. Dr. Bill, your Radio MD on Facebook. You'll see Dr. Bill floating around there, at least his head.
So one of the researchers on causes of homelessness, he has the top 10: addiction, domestic violence, mental illness, job loss. What else has he got? Foreclosures, post-traumatic stress syndrome, throwaway teens, relational brokenness. I don't know what that means.
Divorce, probably, or
yeah,
probably domestic abuse,
grief, and despair. So, you know, the top things are good. Half of the people that are homeless at any given point in time are women and children fleeing an abusive male who's drinking.
Yeah.
So I read a good article back in the 80s from Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. 95% of the homelessness at that time was short-term, or most of it was short-term, and it was related to alcohol because the old man would get drunk and abusive and the family would pack up and move out. They go to a homeless shelter until he sobered up, or they moved on and lived on the street or found relatives to take them in. So domestic violence is a big thing, and as you know, mental illnesses too. And the kids who grow up with abuse and with homelessness, if they have both of those things, they're more likely to be the throwaway kids that are out, the teens that are out on the street early in life. And so, how do you end that? Just like I said, you got to get in there and intervene early. But then you're back to the totalitarian society, and that's what people don't like. They don't want that, at least in our country.
Well, they don't like being told what to do. So,
no,
we're Americans. That's right.
Yeah, well, don't tell me what to do. I'll tell you what to do, buddy boy.
Exactly. Show you the door. Exactly. What do you think is a big overall? If you had to choose as a doctor, which is the biggest problem? Which is the bigger problem? Tobacco use or alcohol use?
It depends on how you look at it in terms of cost to society. I don't know. You know, tobacco abuse, you have a lot of COPD and lung cancer and heart disease and all kinds of problems, peripheral vascular disease. So that costs society a lot of money in medical bills. But then with alcoholism, you have the destruction of families and homes, the bankruptcies, the living on the street with all the costs that are incurred therein to take care of these people. And
not to mention auto accidents and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's not even counting the bums on the street who are begging money, because you got to remember now, if you give a bum a $5 bill, he's most likely an alcoholic or a drug addict, and so you're paying money. It's an indirect tax into caring for the homeless.
It is, yeah.
And so there's a lot of factors to consider. But of course, we've cut down on the tobacco abuse tremendously over the past several decades because of education and
and costs. We have taxed cigarettes in many locations.
Taxes,
to the point where they are now $12, $13 a pack.
And peer pressure too.
And peer pressure, yeah.
So it's an expensive habit now.
Should we do the same with alcohol? I don't think the taxes on alcohol are anywhere near the same percentages that we have on cigarettes. And would that help? Would just increasing the tax on alcohol, making it tougher for people to buy it, help some of these problems, or was it just they'd find a way?
I don't know. The Canadians have taxed their alcohol so high that you pay 150% of what you pay in the United States for alcohol, maybe more, 200%.
Has it helped then their numbers go down as far as alcoholism-related crime?
That I don't know. I know they're having big problems out in Vancouver. Of course, the Canadians, one of my patients from Canada, she said, I don't understand why Americans are sending money to the Ukraine when you have all these poor homeless people that could benefit from programs and re-education and all that. And I said, I don't think that's going to work. And she said, why not? And I started to explain. I said, I lived on the street for a year or two when I was in my youth, back in my hippie days. She said, you lived on the street? I said, yeah. I said, it's not what you think it is. You know, most of these people are alcoholics, drug addicts, or they're crazy, or they're abused kids, and they turn into adults that are multiply addicted. And it's a real problem because what do you do? I mean, how do you rescue people like this? It's not easy, Ken. It's not easy to get people to give up alcohol and drugs, especially if they've been doing it since they were teenagers.
Yeah.
And the earlier you start, the more likely you are to become addicted. So we were pretty smart in keeping Zeke from doing any alcohol or drugs until he was old enough to be a little bit more rational. And he's in his mid to late 20s now, and he's not much of a drinker. And I don't think he smoked pot when he was a freshman in high school. I think that was it. But I told
you're right. I think you're right about it. It is all the family. It really is. Because nobody in my house when I was growing up was a drinker. Nobody, unless they were having some sort of family gathering.
Yeah,
nobody was having a drink.
And you weren't abused. I mean,
no, and I wasn't abused, and I'm not a drinker today because of it. I think I never got the taste for it. You know what I mean? In my 20s, I spent a few evenings hugging a toilet bowl after drinking, and then decided that was not my kind of fun.
That's adolescent. That's adolescent drinking, and we have to be careful not to term adolescent drinking alcoholism, because most kids, they try it, and they want to be part of the gang, and it's cool, and it's something new, and it's something they couldn't do because they weren't old enough. So
you find out it's not all that great. Yeah.
No. Well,
it gets old. It gets old.
Well, hang on a second now.
Don't go there.
Wait a minute. I really enjoyed my beer, and now that I've given it up, I mean, I'm okay. I'm getting more done in the evenings instead of sitting and drinking beer and watching TV and playing games on the computer. I'm getting out and doing things in the garage and catching up on paperwork, but
all in moderation.
And well, I can't do that, Ken. I'm an addictive personality, came out of an abusive home with a lot of alcohol and drug abuse.
Then you probably don't want to be doing that. You're right.
No. And so it's hard for me to not have one or two beers. I end up having 6 or 8.
Okay.
I mean, it really doesn't, I mean, I can still function. That's the sad part. I can still function. So
there are a lot of functioning alcoholics.
Yeah. But
Matthew Perry was one. He used to talk in his book. He talked about he would get drunk and then be out all night, but was able to get back in there and film Friends without anybody really realizing it. He was a functional alcoholic.
Yeah. And of course, your liver doesn't appreciate that.
No. We are at 9:30. You know
Dang,
what that means?
dude.
That means it's time for a question, Doc.
It's time for a question. You got one for us, Ken?
I think I do. Yes. Something we talked about a little while ago. Question is always about something in the first half of the show. And this is for two, count them, 2, Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs. Doc holding it up right there. They're nice, secure, stiff mug. This is the way you like it. You could drop that, it ain't going to break. I guarantee it. You can slam it down, it might break, but
yeah. If the wife throws it at you, it might break.
It might break. Yes, that's right. So. And the number to call, first person with the correct answer, 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. And the question today is, if you're watching Doc on Facebook today, he is a floating head. My question is, what is Doc floating in front of?
What the problem is that the people who are watching YouTube.
Oh,
and
I told him. I told him.
It's behind. Well, that's right. Well, now the people that are just listening to radio, they won't know.
Well, I told everybody on radio what you were doing.
Do you think I said you were listening?
Yes, I said. Oh, absolutely. About 3 minutes ago. Yeah, I said Doc has got this thing of plants, and I said what the plants were, and then he's floating in front of me. You got to tell me what the plants were. If you think about what day it is, you shouldn't even have to look at it.
I even said it.
I think so. We've said it a couple of times.
All right.
First person, 877-969-8600 gets the 2 coffee mugs with the correct answer. And I guess we will be back in just a couple minutes. You got anything else right now, Doc?
Nothing else, baby. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Bill and Ken. of a hospital, conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandhi, 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
See National Salem Talk Show host Dr. Sebastian Gorka live in person March 19th at the Corona Cigar Company in Tampa. Get tickets while they last at theanswertampa.com.
For today, pleasant with times of clouds and sun with a high of 82. For tonight, partly cloudy and warm, a thunderstorm in spots late, low 73. For tomorrow, cloudy with a thunderstorm with a high of 78. For tomorrow night, partly cloudy and cooler with a low of 51. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
Go, Doc.
And I'm back. I'm Dr. Bill, your radio MD. I'm your floating head today, Ken. So the Supreme Court has ruled. Do you like that?
We got a winner, by the way.
We got a winner, by the way. Okay,
as long as we're talking about the floating head on St. Patrick's Day, because Doc's green screen and his green shirt and his green shamrocks are all blending in together. So we're just seeing Doc as a floating head on Facebook today. Take a look. It's fun to watch him. And the Shamrocks was the correct answer, by the way.
Shamrocks, all right.
Yes, and congratulations to Harry Boyd of Holiday, Florida, and he has won himself to Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs. Congratulations, Harry, and enjoy those mugs, and thanks to everybody who tried to win today. We appreciate you all calling in.
It's Terry?
Harry.
Terry, thanks, Terry. We appreciate you.
No, Harry. H as in Harry.
Oh, Harry.
Yes.
Harry Boyd. Hey, Harry. Sorry about mispronouncing your name.
Okay. Well,
that's good. I mean, we like Harry. Where is Holiday? That's pretty far away, isn't it?
I'm not sure how far. I think you're right, though.
Holiday.
Must be listening online. I guess he's listening online.
Pretty cool.
Could be. I'm not sure where that is exactly. You go ahead and talk. I'll Google that. See exactly.
Google that while we're hanging out here.
I will.
So the Supreme Court said that in certain cases you cannot keep people off of social media, politicians and school board members and that sort of thing.
71 degrees and mostly cloudy and hot.
What?
I picked up my phone and started doing the weather.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I thought we already did that.
You can continue on there. Never mind me.
So at any rate, the Supreme Court has weighed in and said, well, you can't keep people off of social media in certain circumstances just because you don't like their politics or whatever. But that was just the past week or two that they did that. So that's another victory for free speech, I guess. And
Holiday, Florida, by the way, is well within our listening area.
Where is it?
Just north of Tarpon Springs. Between Tarpon Springs and Newport Richey.
Oh, yeah. Now I know where Holiday is.
I thought it was further north. I thought it was much further north, but no.
We need a stronger signal, Ken. Can you talk to Joe? And
we'll get a GoFundMe page for a new transmitter.
There we go. We could get a repeater and put it up there and do our own repeater.
We could do that if we wanted to.
If anybody in the audience has a spare repeater, they're not using.
I got one laying around in the trunk of your car or something.
Yeah, with a 50-foot tower disassembled.
So and a lot of land. You got to have a lot of land. Yeah.
Yeah, Pryor Smith. Pryor does the Canada Calling show.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He does it from his home up in what they call Northern Ontario. Actually, it's not that far north, but it's north of Toronto, maybe an hour north of Toronto. And so he put up a big tower so he could pump out his feed to before the internet and the cables were all available. So he could pump out his feed to the repeating station or the receiving station up there. And he put up his own damn tower. He's climbing up there, screwing bolts and nuts.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean he literally built it himself?
He built them himself. It was about 30, 40 feet high.
All right. Well, he's had a wonderful run with that thing.
Yeah, he got an award for the longest running continuous broadcaster in Florida a few years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite a feat.
Yeah.
You're not far behind them, are you? You've been doing this for how long now?
No, I'm only about 15. Let's see, what is this? 20. I think I started right before Obama got elected.
Oh, okay.
So like 2006 or 7. I don't know. Mary says I haven't been doing it that long, and I'm like, Mary, I'm a pro. Leave me alone. So students at West Texas A&M University held a protest on campus because a drag queen show was banned by the university. Well, they took it to federal court, and it ended up in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, West Texas A&M can say no. They don't have to let you have a drag show.
They're in charge, yeah.
And so that was another, I guess, victory for our personal rights and not to have to be exposed to that kind of nonsense. And but RuPaul's been with his drag queen shows been on for what, two or three decades now.
On cable, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, cable, I guess, falls under a different set of rules.
It's not broadcast. It's a whole different set.
I
don't think there are any. I actually don't think there are many rules for cable. Official rules, federal rules.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't care if you want to do what you want to do, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. I guess it's none of my business. I guess that's what freedom means to a certain extent. But I don't think that the founding fathers meant for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to mean anarchy and chaos. I may be wrong.
No, I believe they were trying to get away from that.
Yeah, I think they wanted a stable society, but I think they counted on people being reasonable for the most part.
Mature and normal. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But would be considered normal. Yeah.
Unlike some of my neighbors who hate me, and they don't even know me, but they hate me, and they can't stand my personality because the only thing they've seen is when I was president of the board, and they didn't like being cut off. But if you didn't stick to the topic, I muted you. That's not nice. They don't think that's nice.
No, but it's not unusual for an official meeting like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a corporate board meeting, and it's not a neighborhood meeting. It's not a bitch session. It's not
a town hall meeting.
No, it's not a social club. And so this one guy, Tim, who I don't know why he took to me so negatively. I actually had taken his hat in. He came to one of the fire pits early on a couple of years ago, and he left his hat. And so I took it inside to get it out of the weather. The next day, he's pounding on my door, demanding his hat back like I stole it. And I must have 50 baseball caps dating back to a bunch of caps I bought back in the 90s, early 90s, when the Atlanta Braves won the World Series. I've still got caps from that. I don't know if they're of any value, but you can have one if you want it.
To a collector, to an Atlanta Braves fan, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on eBay. See what you get.
So at any rate, this sinkhole opened up after the concrete trucks were in here pouring the driveways a few weeks back.
Oh, no.
And so he said, well, can't we charge the concrete trucks because they did it? Well, I mean, this hole is like right next to his house on the street, right out. I mean, it's like 10, 15 feet from his driveway. And if you go and look at the hole, it's hugely undermined. Apparently, there's a piece of culvert or drain tile that goes through there, and it has washed out all of the dirt and compaction below that area. And you can see back about 10, 15 feet. He never walked out and looked at it. But he wants to comment and point fingers and accuse. And I don't get people. I mean, you got to do your research, Ken, if you're going to be, a critic and involved and have something constructive to say. You got to get out and do your research.
So he was complaining to you, even
though
you're
not complaining about me.
Oh, about you. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not responsible for any of this anymore, are you?
Well, I'm back on the board.
Oh, you're back on the board. Okay.
So now they're really upset.
we thought we got rid
of you. No, you didn't. And they think, well, we voted you out. Well, you didn't even have enough legal votes, so good luck. Any rate, so the housing market's going to change here because the realtors reached an agreement to change how Americans buy and sell homes because they had been pretty tight about fixing their fees at 6 or 7% for a sale. Their cut of the action, and I guess that somebody took this to federal court, and so they actually cut a deal with whoever they cut deals with on this in the
So it's
federal
the
court.
Association of Realtors, probably something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And so they are going to allow negotiation for their fees. So fees will come down. And as fees come down, the housing market will change, of course, right? I mean, it's going to be a little cheaper to buy a home or sell
Maybe
it.
and maybe not. I mean, just because you're not sending that money to a realtor doesn't mean you want to keep it in your bank account. You might
Well,
still
the other thing is will housing prices go up 2 or 3%?
They might.
Because you're going to discount it 2 or 3% because you're lowering the realtor's fees. So there's a lot of things that we have to look at, but the situation is changing, and I guess this is normal for a lot of industries that prices are coming down for services and goods until the pandemic came along, of course, and the Democrats pumped out all this money. The prices were stabilizing, and I guess they'll come back. I think we'll have more stabilization in the future. But this is going to dramatically change the housing market. And I think it's going to wipe out a lot of realtor jobs too, which used to be, if you were in the right market, a very lucrative industry.
That's possible. Yeah. If they can't survive, if it gets cut too low, you can't do the job anymore.
No, you can't.
I mean, the realtors have a lot of fees. I don't think people realize they don't. They usually rent space in an office somewhere, and they're paying for all kinds of supplies and all those pretty photographs and everything that get taken.
I don't know. A lot of the realtors are just working out of their house now. They have they have offices that are owned by like Remax and different agencies, but I think a lot of that is closing and being consolidated, and people are working from home just like they are in the healthcare and insurance industry. A lot of the nurses that were previously working up in big office buildings with their own little cubicle, deciding whether or not something should be allowed or disallowed to be paid, or you could or could not have a procedure. They're doing all that from home.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the real estate business has changed a lot. I mean, when I bought a house in the early 1980s, I had to have a realtor show me pictures of those houses, and we have to go see them in person. But today, when I bought a house 2 years ago, I found the house on the internet. I had been inside virtually on many occasions, and I just got a realtor, and I said, that's the house I want. Get me inside. There weren't a series of 15 houses to go look at before we found one that we liked.
Yeah,
the business has changed.
Yeah, it cuts way down on the amount of work the realtor has to do because he doesn't have to cart, or she doesn't have to cart you around and show you homes and use her car and her gasoline. I
exactly.
mean, you kind of select, like going on Amazon.com, and you can compare several different laptop computers in a hurry and pick out the one you want, rather than going up to Best Buy and spending hours there looking at everything and trying to decide. And,
yeah, realtors spend a lot of time trying to match your description of what you're looking for with a house somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's all changed now. You just find the house yourself pretty much on the internet.
Yep.
So maybe it's a good thing. We'll see.
So if you're thinking about it, whoops, there's somebody at my front door. Did you hear that?
Somebody making a delivery, getting some milk, getting some butter coming in there. What's that?
Something. Either Amazon or my neighbor's going.
Maybe it's some Irish. It's an Irish party
brew.
Going through the neighborhood. An Irish
Green
party
beer
going through the
being
neighborhood.
Dropped off. Honey, did we order green beer? So if you're thinking about going to Iceland for a vacation, the volcano has erupted again this week. So you might want to delay that, or you could probably get a fairly cheap room. So
maybe it depends which way the wind's blowing. I was in Iceland. We took a vacation there once. It's a fascinating place.
I think that the capital is on the west coast. What's it?
No, I think it's south. That's Reykjavik,
South.
right?
Reykjavik.
Yeah, I think Reykjavik is kind of south, maybe southwest.
Yeah, southwest. So the winds blow from west to east. So the volcanic ash is blowing towards Europe, and so the capital should be fairly nice now. And you could probably go up on the west side of the island and see the volcano without getting dirty, without getting dust on you.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah. The planes have to be very careful flying around there. If the
You remember the last time they had the big eruption? It shut down air traffic from Europe for a while.
Yeah.
So that's a big.
Cannot fly through that stuff.
No, that'll choke out the engines, and the pilots can't see anything, and then you crash. And
it gets very scary, and
and you have to go up to heaven. And St. Peter says, "You want to go to heaven or hell? You got more decisions to make. It's a mess. It's just a big headache." So you don't want to do that. You want to stay here on Earth, take your tacrolimus and your resveratrol and your ARB and your statin, and keep your weight down and see if you can live to 150.
150. I don't even want to break the century mark. I don't think.
How about 120?
Nah, I'm thinking maybe 85 would be fine.
85. Okay. Well,
yeah.
We've got a bullet with
my dad, my grandfather both went around 83, 85, somewhere in there. So I think that's probably when I'll go.
Probably so.
It's family tradition.
My dad died at 85, but the medications and the medical care has gotten a lot better now. And he had head injuries, and he tended to overindulge at times. So, and he smoked for about 40 years of his adult life, from adolescence until he was, I'm going to guess he was in his late 40s, early 50s when he finally quit smoking.
Hey, my grandfather smoked until he was 65. This is on my mom's side, and he lived to be 96.
Yeah, but he couldn't breathe.
No, actually, he never had any of those problems at all. He didn't have any
there
breathing
are people
problems.
who are genetically predisposed to not have problems from alcohol.
And he drank beer every day. He was he came from a good stock in the fatherland and never lost the accent. He always had the German accent. He used to scare the heck out of me sometimes.
Well, they say that Heineken's was invented to wash out tobacco out of the system. So that's why, well, even though I don't smoke, that's why I was drinking, to make sure that
no tobacco in the system, right?
Yeah, and get all the tobacco and all the sugar out of myself. And the gummy synapses from marijuana. It'll it cleanses those right out.
And so drink up, Doc. Yeah.
You can think more clearly then. Do you think that's true, Ken, or you think I'm making that up?
I think you're fibbing to us here on St. Patrick's Day. I think you're giving us a little blarney here on St. Patrick's Day.
A little blarney. Have you kissed a blarney stone? Have you been to Ireland?
I have. I have actually kissed a blarney stone.
What did it taste like?
It tastes like stone. They actually help you. You don't kiss,
must get stoned.
You actually have to get on your back and lean back with your head over kind of a precipice there, and then kind of kiss the blarney stone, which is on top of, which is above you, kind of thing. It's very weird. They have people there helping you.
Do you have to pay?
I think there's a donation kind of thing. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't think that you really pay, but I think there's a donation they will accept if you want the help, or if you want to fall off while you're trying to kiss the blarney stone. It's probably a good idea to make the donation.
Yep. Make sure they hold you.
That's right. They may be drinking.
Did he pay? No.
Right.
Right over the old cliff.
And you have to walk up several flights of steps to get there, by the way. On old stone steps. It's not an easy walk.
Yep. So before we go off the air, Ken, I wanted to ask you and ask everybody out there what they think about this Haitian crisis. I mean, why don't we just go in there? We go in and we put down rebellions and then we leave. Why don't we stay and just have some sort of temporary provincial governor or something, and Marines to keep order and get them organized? Why don't we do that? Or is it
I don't know. You would think after all the billions we have sent there, every time it just disappears. Doesn't seem to do any good. But there are some rich Haitians somewhere. You know it.
Oh yeah, and I was talking with a guy that was from Haiti. He was on a cruise with us, and we stopped at Labadee, which is the resort area that Royal Caribbean has bought or rents or whatever on northern Haiti, on the northern tip, far away from the population. And they turned it into a resort with a little roller coaster and zip line and beaches and cabanas and restaurants and shopping areas and all that. And he said, "Yeah, I'm from Haiti originally, and I moved to Miami when I was a young man, and I started working in a Publix." And I said, "Now what do you do?" He said, "I manage a Publix." I said, "Cool." And so he told me his story, and he said, "You would think from what you hear in the press that all of Haiti is poor." He said, "There's a lot of money in Haiti, but it's just concentrated in a very small group of people." And I guess that's what gets everybody in Haiti all upset. You know, they want a piece of the action.
Sure. Or at least some services, you know?
And people that have been there when it's not erupting, and they say it's really an interesting place, and there's a lot of good shopping, and there's a lot of sights to see, but it's certainly a very poor country, one of the poorest countries in the world per capita. But apparently there's a lot of wealth there too.
Well, I don't know about taking over. That sounds like an expensive process.
Yeah, but what do we have to give in return for not taking over? And we've got DeSantis detailing what happened when they intercepted a boat full of Haitians last week, and there were guns and weapons and night goggles and terrorist kinds of stuff. And so, are we just inviting more chaos into the country?
Probably. You're right. You probably are.
How much will that cost?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, we don't have any real research that quantitates the amount of burden that this places on us as a society. So we have to look at that too, Ken. I mean, we're back to that argument of homelessness and what the real cost is, not counting cleaning up after them and all that, including people giving money to bums on the street, which is another indirect tax. So we've got all this that we have to do. Now we have to send these people back. We hand them over to the Border Patrol, and they're supposed to send them back to Haiti. Good luck. And what about the Dominican Republic? They're certainly having problems, no doubt, with Haitians pouring over the border. And the Haitians also try to sneak into, and the Dominicans try to sneak into Puerto Rico, believe it or not. So nobody's happy where they are, except for Americans.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
For the most part, nobody wants to leave.
No.
They're all coming here.
Yeah, you don't see anybody trying to get out.
No, you don't see people hanging on to the wheels of a 767 that's taken off from Tampa International, trying to get out of the United States. They're trying to come in.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to be here. And, well, of course, because of you and me, Ken, and the Dr. Bill show.
I think so, which, by the way, is coming to an end. We got about a minute and a half here, Doc.
Dang, dude.
I know.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Every week, this show just zips right by.
Well, we talk about all kinds of interesting things, and we have a lot of fun, and
we have a few laughs. Absolutely right.
It is an interesting hour, I think.
I'm always fascinated by the subjects you come up with, and we have a nice discussion. But it's all coming to an end in about 62 seconds or so.
Yeah, and so I talked about that guy from the Cuban American that was actually a spy, and Manuel Rocha. And I read another article on how they got to him and how he penetrated the inner circles of the U.S. government. He was even on the National Security Council. Can you believe that?
Wow.
The first rule is you don't put Cubans on the National Security.
No.
I mean, what are you thinking?
A little vetting here and find out who you're dealing with, please.
I mean, if you want to be politically appropriate, you get Hispanics that have, like Southern Texans, Hispanic families that have been in the United States since the inception of Texas as an independent country. The Tejanos that stayed, and they said, we don't want to be part of Mexico. We want to be part of Texas.
Doc, you got about 15 seconds here. Give the phone number for the business.
727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Ken, we love you, buddy. We love everybody.
Say goodbye, Doc.
Goodbye, Doc.
WQL, W229DJ Dunedin, powered by Prosperity Group. See them online today at mymoneyissafe.com.